Hello, everybody. I'm Ash, your D-class hero.
I'm Card Dreamer.
Still nothing?
Oh, there's something, and it's coming.
Gross. Anywho, we finally finished up Lego Month. We finally finished Lego Dimensions.
And, yes, and it was a long time coming, but you know what?
Gross.
D-class, people. D-class. We finally finished off, like he said, Lego Dimensions, and this is going to be a combination review and discussion because there's so much to talk about.
There is, to be honest, because Lego Dimensions is kind of a different beast in of itself. It's very similar to the game Skylanders, where you need certain figures or sets to actually expand the world itself. And this is both a good and a bad thing. But first off, we're going to start off with the review.
Yes, and I can participate in this because not just did you hear me in the Let's Play.
He actually played it before
I
we
played,
did.
yeah, I played it all before that. So, I'll let Ash start off on this one. Keanthani is not here because he's going to tell you he played.
Pretty much.
We're done.
And it's mostly because he works kind of a different schedule from we do. We get to see him maybe like every other week at best.
It's true. His view on gaming is different anyway. He games. It's fun. He's done. He doesn't get into the whole.
We're hardcore.
Why?
He's casual.
Right.
So that's the best way I can describe it. Moving on. So my opinion on Lego Dimensions. I very much enjoyed this game. I like the whole overarching humor of it all. There were certain things that were just kind of weird, like the try at the very end. If you've seen the entire Let's Play or you played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The try, which is the combination of Metalbeard, Robin, and Frodo.
Yes, it was. So I think Ash actually is on a good place to start, and that is with the story first and foremost of this game. And I think the story is nearly comic book level. It's a little kid friendly, but as far as the fact that this crossed over so many franchises, this was really well done.
So you know when you were a kid and you'd always want to compare with your friends, okay, if we crossed over these two characters, who'd win? This is pretty much the same thing.
It's true.
Except it's a team-up. Like the old Amalgamation comics.
Right. And the sad part is there is a winner. It's Batman. I wish that was only for the joke, but let's be honest.
Don't you mean Darkclaw?
Oh, that's a whole different video. And that character, say what you will about his origin and the story behind him, looked freaking awesome.
He did. That's Wolverine and Batman combined, people. But again, different video.
Yeah.
Batman's the winner of this game.
He really is. The humor, like Ash said, is like top notch because the humor draws it in and of itself from so many sources. It's not just Batman in and of himself, even though he lays the foundation for the whole game when he starts bat slapping with himself.
Yeah, when you see Batman from Batman Lego games and Batman from the Lego movie just have a slap by who's a bigger Batman, it's just a pure win because that pretty much sets the pace for the humor of the game.
It does. It's just nonstop between the way, and everybody's true to the characters that they're representing. Lego Batman's true to what he's been portrayed in as Lego Batman 1 through 3. The Lego movie Batman was true to Lego Batman, but Gandalf's true to Gandalf himself to an extent. I mean, he was a little more silly here, but I mean...
Speaking of Gandalf, he is arguably my favorite character, aside from Doctor Who.
Yeah, Gandalf really shone with his humor and all this. This is more like the Hobbit Gandalf than a Lord of the Ring.
Yeah, and I'm not opposed to that, to be honest, because it just brought a whole different side of the character, despite it not being the one from the movies. It was one more towards the games, but it was still very humorous and fun. There were several times where he just had a comment or he did something in the background that just made me chuckle.
And that's true. And you know, they really, for a game that was all about mass marketing and cash-ins, because of the franchises, because of the fact that it's Lego, because of the fact that it's Toys for Life, and that you had to go out and buy all these things to do it, though. But they didn't drop the ball with the story either.
Which I'm glad about, because when it comes to these kind of games, there's always that fine line between them trying to get you to spend more to get the full game versus them just getting more stuff for the sake of getting more stuff.
Right. And right off the bat, the first level, when you're in Oz, you know it's going to be a good game, because not only are you jumping in with them singing Follow the Yellow Brick Road, but between Batman calling the Scarecrow a villain, because it's a reference to the Scarecrow villain in Batman, the fact that they play along with it like, I'm a villain, and like, no, I mean, they just went with it. Like, it was just really funny, and it was good. Like,
I loved it.
I could see that happening almost.
I loved it.
And it was great. The writers, every level focused on a different franchise, and every one was a love letter to that franchise.
Speaking of the levels, favorite one, definitely Portal.
I was so
Just, they got GLaDOS right. Wheatley, GLaDOS, the humor. I mean, granted, me and Keith and I kind of skipped over certain sections, but that's only because there were ways to do it, and we had no idea we were doing the correct way or a shortcut.
And this is true. And that's a shame, because they did cut out some great stuff from Wheatley. But
Hal and GLaDOS. Best part of that entire level. Just their little bickering.
it really was, and that's funny because one of our favorite viewers, Stonebeak, he was watching and commenting, and I have to say, I as I was telling him, I agree with Ash. This was got to be, even if it's not my favorite franchise, that was got to be my favorite level, because they managed somehow to stay true to Portal gameplay, look, feel, sound, style, atmosphere, and everything, but it was still a Lego game.
It was the best of both worlds because yes, you get Lego where you can construct, deconstruct, bring in characters from other series and whatnot. Then you have Portal, which is very puzzle solving, very think on your feet, or cheap way to do this. You got all that. And it was just a really well balanced level. And it adds so much more to the game because of it.
It did, and the fact that it was the actual voice actress that did GLaDOS in the Portal games. It was the same one who did her in Defense Grid when they did the Portal crossover expansion on there. Portal is huge.
There's a lot more to it than most people think.
And most of all, there was a cake.
There was the cake.
The cake
and it
was there.
An item that was actually important to the story too.
That's what's awesome.
The cake wasn't a lie.
It's true. Everybody references a cake as a joke. The cake played a role here. Lego one-upped everybody else.
They did. In the best way, too. With, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played Portal. You're offered cake at the end of the game. The cake is a lie. The cake is a furnace. And we got the furnace and we got the cake. So win-win.
Right?
Now, speaking of voice actors, I want to talk about Peter Capaldi, who plays Doctor Who in this game. And I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I love the show. There really isn't an actor I haven't enjoyed in the role. I will say this. The Doctor Who character in this game is one of the best. Simply because Peter Capaldi plays a more manic and sarcastic version of himself in the show, which is very child-friendly and works out great. But when you actually go through the extra level of Doctor Who, you unlock the ability to die and reincarnate as one of the previous forms of the Doctor, which is a nice little just Easter egg for all you fans out there.
Yeah, I agree. And as much as I like the concept of Doctor Who, and I have watched several episodes of the original series.
He's a big fan of the first one.
And I have seen newer episodes of more recent ones, and I'm not against it. I want to watch them all, but I can respect and love the details they put into it. When you use the TARDIS and the title screen is mocked up and the music is there, the sound effects are there, the inside of the TARDIS actually does change to match the reincarnated or whatever version of Doctor you're using. The fact that the Peter Capaldi actually did the voice work for his character is amazing. Yeah, I happen to agree. The Doctor Who stuff was great in this game.
It was just on point. I love love just the final boss of the game.
He was a great original character.
He
and
really was.
I would love and hope to see him come back in some form. I want them to do a second Lego Dimensions. It's not out of this world unreasonable.
They very much teased the second one with how they ended this game post-credits.
I love how Superman... That was another favorite part. Superman is brought into the story for literally 2 seconds before he's... They're like, yeah, he's OP. He's not staying. Bye.
And if you use Superman in most of the game, he's a cheat character. He really is.
He is.
He can solve most of the puzzles because he's literally unkillable aside from magic. Which is actually comic book correct. Magic's one of the few things he's not super great against.
True.
That being said, the final boss of the game is one of my favorites, just for the fact that, like, he's a bad guy, but you can't really hate him.
No, because he's just so good at it. It's one of those few villains that you almost want to root for more than the good guys because you just love the villains so much.
He's very goofy. He's very, do as I say, I'm more powerful than you, but, like, hey, have fun with it. Particularly the Back to the Future level, where he just kind of like shows up as the sheriff and all that stuff, giving them a hard time. That was great because you get to see his more of his personality.
Right.
And it's just a really great time because you just got everything just crashing in. They get Doc Brown and Marty just come in. It's like, what do we do?
Right? Top notch is all around story. I want to add on, now Ash hasn't seen this yet, and I haven't done a video for it yet, but I have played it. Sonic the Hedgehog has his own level pack. And
Nice.
It's another great example of not just story, but love letter to the franchise. It plays like a Sonic game almost, but it still has all the Lego qualities you want. It ties in indirectly to the main story. Basically, Sonic and gang cross paths with Batman, Gandalf, and Wildstyle while they're in the
void.
dimensional void, so to speak, traveling. And it's great. I don't want to give it away, but of course Batman shines. It's somehow Batman shines in the Sonic the Hedgehog level pack.
It's truly a great time to be gaming.
It is. And they use, for the Sonic level, all the Sonic sound effects.
See, that's a big win for me because that stays true to an original franchise. I'm not sure how much Sega had involvement in that.
Well, they have to give the rights.
Right, I understand that, but like I didn't think they would go all out, let them use the sound effects and everything.
There's actually, what's really cool is not only do you have Sonic voice actors, and I have to double check. I think the voice actor is the one who voiced him from the cartoon, but I could be wrong.
Wait, are we talking about like the 2000s cartoon?
I
Or
think
we're talking about classic.
I think it might be the more recent one, but it's still of well known. It's one I've heard before, I believe. But the music is from the Sonic games. The sound effects from when he jumps. Every time you collect the Lego stud, it's collecting the rings.
Nice.
And there is the red brick cheat that you unlock from the Sonic Hub World. Turns all the studs into rings.
That's a big one.
So it's just really great. He can ride rails. He can do all the things that Sonic has always done. It's great. They just do no wrong story-wise. Even the Portal story pack, not the one that you see in this game because that's the main story. There is a Portal level pack. Ties into the main game. You find out, it's kind of almost prequel-esque. You see that GLaDOS has been guarding one of the dimensional portals.
Nice. So I think that's a good segue into the next part is the pay-to-play aspect of this game. And that's in the sense that like there are more level packs that you can get by buying more merchandise. And this is a great I think this is a great segment for you, particularly because you bought a good chunk of them, to be honest. I haven't spent a dime on this game. He has.
Yeah, this is mine.
He has a problem.
I do. And it's all D-class. So
You love me.
the game is, as we said, it is a Toys to Life game. It requires you to buy the toy pad, Lego minifigures, and so forth.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. The toy pad comes with the game.
Yes, it's an $80 game normally to start. I managed to get it cheaper because GameStop doesn't pay attention.
So win on your part.
Right. But it comes. The initial game comes with Batman, Gandalf, and Wildstyle. And that's all you need to beat the story. You only need those 3. There are ways to do everything, a little bit of the other stuff in-game by using your studs to buy or rent characters. But you only need those 3 to beat the main story. You can buy additional characters. 99.9% of them are all rentable to some degree in the game.
Right.
But no, that's not true. Half of them are rentable. All the ones you need for skills are rentable. But it's not just the fact that you're buying these characters. You can buy fun packs, which is the like a character and a vehicle or something. You have team packs, which is usually 2 characters and 2 vehicles. Or you have level packs, which is character, vehicle, item, and it actually has your own exclusive level to play through with its own achievement set.
See, that's not bad.
And then there were 3 different story packs, which were the Lego Batman movie, Ghostbusters 2016, and Fantastical Beasts, and where to find them. They were...
Love that movie.
Each of them came with character, a new setting for the game, or for the toy pad, vehicle, and a series of levels to go through. A whole story based on that franchise to go through with its own set of achievements. And they're all usable throughout the main story and everywhere else you want to use them, which is great. You had so many opportunities to mix and match your franchises how you want. Now, but
so you know that ultimate fan service fanfic you want to make, you can make it happen.
Oh, it's so true. However, it gets really expensive. This was not
Cheap.
This is not cheap. If you were to try to do it all brand new, you're gonna pay through the nose several $100s. I did not. I managed to get things dirt cheap. I knew where to look. I kept an eye out.
You hear that, people? He's cheap on the streets.
Whatever. Hey, but cheap gets me more customers.
We might have to change the rating on this video.
But I mean, there's a pro and con here, which is going to lead to the second half of this video eventually. The fact that it's Toys to Life limits accessibility to the masses. It's basically, if you want to play, you have to pay. And not everybody's got that kind of money to sit out there and buy all these Lego pieces. And because it's Lego as opposed to Skylander, they're doubly collectible, because some of these are the first time any of these characters have been made into minifigures. Some of these is the first time these franchises have been done in Lego. So now it was a matter of trying to find them, not just to play, but because people are collecting them regardless if they play.
And, like, that's a good and bad thing. Collectability is always a nice little perk, in my opinion. I like having a limited edition of something. I love Loot Crate because I get limited edition stuff from that. And no, this is not an advertisement. I just generally like the service of Loot Crate. But sometimes when it comes to collectibles that are for like a game, super expensive. This is one of them. I have an original copy of the game Dot Hack Infection for the PlayStation, which has a cult following, and I could sell that on eBay for, $100, if not more, because it's that collectible. And that's kind of the thing with these. It's just the fact that people want them, and they can really jack up the price depending on what it is.
Right. I don't want to get too much more into it because it really is the second half. I think this is a good time to kind of... We talked about the story. We talked about the pieces and how it is you expand upon that. Let's talk about... We touched on it, but let's really talk about now sound, voice acting, and so forth. They didn't skimp on that.
No, they really didn't.
Every level that was based on a prior franchise, they stayed true. We're going to combine this with sound and art, actually, because good example of why is The Simpsons.
Oh yeah.
Their level was done in the art style of The Simpsons. It wasn't all realistic graphics. It was done. You're in the Simpsons world, it's going to look like the Simpsons show. So they did the love letter right there. They got permission to use Homer sound clips.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, some of it, it was all, I don't think any of it was original dialogue. I believe they took it all from the show, but they were allowed to. And it's really, but it worked. The lines they used was just really made the humor work and really made the story go forward, but they did it really well. There is a Simpsons level pack, and that was equally fun. But that followed a storyline for one of the episodes. But they got all original voice actors when they could. You know, you got Batman. The Lego Batman voice actor is the one from the movie. You know, the Knight Rider fun. Peter Capaldi for Doctor Who. Now, sometimes, like I said, they are reusing lines from official sources. With Ghostbusters, the original,
They had to.
they use all sound clips from the first movie. But at least it's the actors. For the Knight Rider fun pack, they got... I'm sorry, I know I don't know the actor's name, but the gentleman who voiced Kit from the original Knight Rider, Mr. Feeney himself from Boy Meets World, came back to record lines for this.
Which is not easy.
No. Doc Brown from Back to the Future. They got Christopher Lloyd back to record more lines. I mean, Emmett from the Lego movie was Emmett.
That was Chris Pratt.
There you go.
Who is a goddamn treasure, if you ask me.
Shaggy and Scooby are the ones from the latest cartoon. Or at the time it was. I mean, Wild Style is Wild Style. They did Adventure Time. It's those voice actors.
Yeah, it's such an adult show with people out realizing it. Sorry, getting distracted.
It's fair enough. And it's not just the voice actors.
Unikitty.
Unikitty's Unikitty. I mean,
Metalbeard. Robin from the Lego world is the same one they use in Teen Titans Go, which is the same one from the original Teen Titans.
And, fun note, which I actually just found out today, which is awesome, playing through the Lego movie. Once you're done that, you can change it to Teen Titans Go Robin.
Really?
Yes.
That's neat, actually.
So, there's always something new with this game
Teen
to
Titans
expand.
Go.
Right?
I hate it with a passion.
Beetlejuice, I don't... no, now that wasn't Michael
I have
Keaton.
a gray area.
It wasn't Michael Keaton, but I think it may have been the same one from the cartoon that they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they do little references about how he did Batman shtick for a while, referencing that it's the same voice actor.
Which is really just tongue-in-cheek, but if you're a fan, you get it.
Yeah, I mean... And then you got classical sound reference, and when Superman flies, it plays the classic John Williams theme. And it makes you feel epic, and all you're doing is flying around collecting studs or running into a wall. And you don't care, because you're listening to freaking John Williams.
He's not wrong.
You know, you got Wonder Woman, and it plays the classic Linda Carter TV series song every time you fly as Wonder Woman.
There's just so much win in this game that people just don't realize or give, like, proper, like... What's the word I'm looking for here? Notoriety?
I would... Notoriety, respect. They have Teen Titans Go, Beast Boy, and Raven. It's those same voice actors.
I hate that show, but I do like the fact they use the actual voice actors for it. Raven is actually one of my favorite characters in this game, simply for the fact that when she enters the game, it's literally this dark, long, and kind of sarcastic introduction to herself into the world.
It's true.
And it's just so out of place and in a very cheery, uplifting game, and it just works.
Now, I do want to say there is one fail. For all the things they got right, like, there is one fail.
We're reviewing it?
Yes, I have to be. No, not that. No, but if we're gonna be fair, there is one fail.
Yeah.
I mentioned they have Kit, the Knight Rider pack. There is Kit and Michael Knight. Michael Knight is not David Hasselhoff.
Yeah. I mean, you can't expect them to get all the actors, but they got a lot.
No. You had Michael Knight, and it wasn't David Hasselhoff. Do you know how many wrongs that is? I mean, you're lucky you balanced it out by having the right kit.
I mean, look,
but
if it's
not.
If it's David Hasselhoff versus Batman, which one would you rather have voice acting? Just saying.
But we already know the Batman voice actor was going to come back because he's done 3 Lego Batman games and a movie already.
He could have simply said no. Just saying. But I do hear what you're saying. You can't really have the pair without, half the pair being there.
Right. I have to say that was my one disappointment. Everything else, though...
He's got gripes, I don't.
I'm being fair as a reviewer, which is way above my D-class grade.
To be fair, our fans are above our grade.
This is true.
Joking aside, they add a lot of little things into this game that just kind of work. They add all the Ninjago characters, which are a Lego world in of itself, and a cartoon. They have all the original actors from that, which is a nice little touch. And with it being kind of more of a multiverse, you don't really expect that kind of addition into it. Like Sonic, you don't really expect too many other games to be in there, since it's already either an established game, franchise, or world. You expect DC and Marvel, but we only got DC in this one.
It's true. I really would have liked to seen a couple of more Lego properties make their appearance, but that's why I'm still hoping and holding out for a Lego Dimensions 2.
I just want Lego Tony Stark and Lego Batman to see each other, meet each other, shake hands, and say, "I'm Richard." Missed opportunity.
Technically, I think Tony could say he's Richard, but then the retort of all retorts,
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. And he would win. I mean...
And they bring up a lot of classic, either movies or games or characters into this. Beetlejuice, E.T.,
Gremlins,
A-Team.
I don't have Gremlins or A-Team. I want to get them. Powerpuff Girls are even in here with the actual announcer or narrator, the girls.
I love the announcer. It was just such a great nostalgia moment for me. Yes, I watched Powerpuff Girls. Don't judge me. You all watched it when you were kids.
No, some of us had standards before we became D-class.
I know it's not you.
I had standards. My son did not.
I know it wasn't you. We even got the flying monkeys.
Well, that came with the because I have the Wicked Witch. We can play as the Wicked Witch, and we did.
And it's just like it gives you a lot of variety. It's just really fun, and most of them have their own level packs.
There is a second gripe.
Really?
They did a story pack based on 2016 Ghostbusters. They promoted 2016 Ghostbusters. That is not a good thing.
Now, to be fair, though, we had nothing against the actors of that movie. We had a problem with the movie itself.
Yes. The movie sucked.
It was basically a rehash of the original Ghostbusters, and
that was not a rehash. That was horrible. That didn't even
in the
cover...
wrong way. As you let me finish.
No, it was a reboot, but it was not a rehash. Rehash means they did the same old thing. They did not. They failed. They just failed at life. They failed at that movie. They failed everything. The devil himself would not take them because they committed a sin so atrocious that they are not allowed in hell.
So you can't see it right now. I'm just kind of giving him this judgmental face because that was a lot more than griping and hatred than I expected to get from this.
I love Ghostbusters. Don't mess with the things I love.
No, you love Bill Murray.
Doesn't everyone?
Yes, but not to the extent you love him.
That's a lie. Right up there with There Is No Spoon.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Everyone loves Bill Murray to death.
Not as much as you, though.
Everybody loves Bill Murray. If
stand
you
by my
don't
remark.
love Bill Murray to that level, your existence is hollow.
I'm not saying they don't love him. I'm just saying you love him more than anyone else.
It's Bill Murray. I don't understand. I've seen Zombieland. I'm not the only one.
Look, he was just playing himself in that movie, and that was the best thing they could do.
Look at Woody Harrelson's reaction when they met Bill Murray.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Woody Harrelson's great.
Yeah.
I love him, and just a lot of his roles. Moving on. Overall, I think we're towards the end of this video at this point.
No.
I'm trying to give them a break.
Because now we need to just have the discussion part of this video.
I'm trying to give them a break. All right, moving on. Anyway, to the discussion portion of this video, we've gone over the review, how we feel about the characters, the voice acting, the story, and just like the things we appreciate and don't really appreciate about it. Now we're talking about the Toys to Life aspect of it.
Yes, and I think basically the biggest question is now...
Is it worth it?
Would this have done better with digital DLC alone, or should it have stayed like it is, a Toys to Life game?
So to elaborate on that more, would it have done better if there were actually DLC packs online that you could purchase, like on the game store, Xbox Live, or whatnot? Just an example. Versus the actual toys containing the level packs.
Right, and I think the game would have been more successful in its own right if it had stuck to digital, because it would have been a more availability for people to come into it. The Lego games are big in general.
Oh yeah.
And for one of this caliber, you would have had so many people jumping on that. You could have sold Season Pass, and that would have been justified. You had great DLC content. Achievement hunters would have been happy because your achievements were not difficult to obtain, and they made just playing through fun anyway. It would have been great to me. Now, the flip side to that, though, as the person, now Ash can't speak for this.
Nope.
But as the person who had to actually put these things together as I played, I can't argue that there isn't some stress-relieving peacefulness about it. To have to build that portal, the portal set, to have to put together the minifigures, to have to put together the figures, or the vehicles during the actual gameplay, because that's when the instructions, you've all seen it, pop up.
And they got really annoying for us.
They do, because they don't go away even once you have them built.
Which is really just kind of a flop on their end, in my opinion.
Third grade. But it was actually peaceful. It kind of, you sit back, you weren't constantly staring at the screen. It made you step back, put the controller down, and do something with your hands constructive.
Clever.
And it was fun to do that. It gave you a little bit. I grew up and I did play with Legos as a little kid.
Who didn't? If you had Kinects, you're a loser.
Right.
Kidding. I had Kinects and Legos. I win.
So it brought back memories, and it was great. So it was great to do that, and I don't know if you get that same feeling from, say, Skylanders.
You don't. And those are more like little mini statues.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, same with Disney Infinity. This is different because it's Lego and you build with it. And what's more is the vehicles have 3 different versions of them that you can build with the pieces they give you. In game, they have 3 forms, and you can literally build all 3 forms. Now, I don't, because the first form is the classic version. I like to keep Lego-wise the classic versions. But
He's very to the T when it comes to this, because he's very just kind of old school, and there's nothing wrong with that. I can see why he would want to keep like the classic Mystery Machine, the classic DeLorean, and all that. It's more like, hey, I grew up with this stuff. This has a special place in my heart. I'm keeping it this way, and that's perfectly fine. Right. In my opinion, though, I will say this when it comes to build a life or pay to play in this sense that I wouldn't mind having the DLC available to me on the Play Store or whatever platform it's being put on. But it would have to be a different price from the actual product where you get the actual figurine. And that's because I'm getting the DLC plus an actual figurine. So I can see paying a little bit more for that. Maybe like an extra $5 at best, but nothing beyond that.
Agreed. And, you know, the other thing to consider is practicality.
Yeah.
Is because if you want to keep this game replayable as it really technically is if you had everything, this game has a huge amount of replay value. It's not just the main story.
You could probably do a different playthrough of this game using different characters and do this 20 plus times over. Probably more than that.
Right. But where do you put all these things once they're put together? You don't want to keep taking them apart, obviously. Yes, they're nice little display pieces, but they're minifigures. They're Lego vehicles, and where do you keep them? I mean, I'm gonna buy a display case, but the ones I'm looking at are like $80 to $90.
I would say in a shoebox.
But yeah, but then that's not easy accessibility if you want to go back to play the game either. So that's
you go back and play games? Shh. I've seen your library. Don't lie to me.
It's true. But having brought that to light, we'll pretend it never happened. So, but realistically, joking aside, it's not practical, and that's the downside to Toys to Life. And that's why I think the DLC packs would have been better.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. And that's... I'm not opposed to, like, having the figurines. Like, I would probably pay for... Say Overwatch, for example, because I play a ton of that. If it was Overwatch, in order to get a new character, I need to buy a figurine for it. I'd probably do it because I'm that addicted to the game. Now, if the character was also available as digital download, I personally would probably still buy the statue because I want the statue. Because there's two needs there at that point. Those who actually want to play it for the actual levels and those who actually want the figurines. I guarantee the ones who buy the figurines are going to get more joy out of it because it holds a special place in their heart.
Right. Now, I would be amiss if I didn't mention this. Now, there are...
How much money you spent on it?
No, I'm not going to mention that. So...
He's not proud of it.
But there are older Lego games that did have character DLC, and I don't think they did as well. But here's the thing. Like, Lego Lord of the Rings had DLC characters. Lego Marvel Superheroes had DLC characters. Lego Batman 2 had DLC characters. But that's all they were, was characters. There were no achievements tied to them. And I'll be the first to tell you...
Here it is, the trophies.
No, I'm not going to sit here and go off whether they should or shouldn't, but that's literally all they were, was characters. And it came out at a time where you probably had already beaten the game by then. So, why would I spend $4 on characters to go back to a game I may or may not go back to? Because you're not adding anything other than characters. You're not adding story. You're not adding anything else to obtain now. That was the downside. Now, I bought a couple for the Lego because I got them cheap, but for Lego Marvel. But for the most part, I didn't buy any of them. These I would have gladly bought if you had released them. Now, they had released story levels with them. They had released achievements for something. I would have bought them because it was something more to obtain with the game and have fun with them.
See, I can understand that then. Because at that point, you're just adding more enjoyment to the game that you've already had. It would just expand upon more for it. If they had like extended story explaining, what happened after the end game credits, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, I would probably have bought some myself just so I can see what happens.
I agree.
For example, say we got a... just throwing this out there, say a Ninjago character who wasn't in the game during the first release of these figurines. Came out later, like Gen 2, essentially. This character you play, put it on the pedestal, log in the game. First thing you get, cutscene. Cutscene for the extended story after the credits. Right there, Interest obtained.
I can get behind that.
Just kind of have my own little input on that. But then again, a lot of it's just, the collecting aspect of it. I guarantee a lot more people probably bought these just for the fact that it's a one-of-a-kind Lego piece.
I admit, that's probably a little bit of part why I got a couple of them. Like the Stay Puft Marshall Man and Terror Dog. They have no purpose in the game.
Nope.
I mean, not that they don't do stuff, but I mean, why there's no need to play as them when other characters are more versatile. But it's, who doesn't want a Lego Stay Puft?
I would say the Ghostbusters, but that's a whole different thing.
Well, he's the same size as them.
This time.
Fair.
We've seen him in both the cartoon and the movie.
Fair enough.
We're old. Well, he's old. I'm still somewhat young.
No. I think I've covered everything. I think that was all fair points. I think what we can conclude, though, is that the game... Well, that's ended on one question. So, having played the full main story...
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth... Do you feel it would be worth buying at least the base game, the Portal, and a few of these characters to play? Do you think it's worth investing some money in? Do you?
So, on that note, since I assume you're posing that question to me, not the audience.
I'm posing it to everybody. Anybody, you particularly, but anyone in the
Right.
audience who's played this game, did you feel it was worth it?
So, please comment below what your thoughts are on the game. Would you say that it's worth paying for extra level packs and things are not necessarily to the main plot of the game, but for extra enjoyment just as level packs themselves? On that note, my response would be, me and Kiyotani went through the main storyline, and there were very few characters that we used extensively outside of Batman, Wildstyle, and Gandalf. Kiyotani used Superman because
It was a cheat character.
it was a cheat character. That's really the only reason he used it, and plus he wanted to put out fires.
Right.
Or Cosmo. Or freeze me, which I'm still really annoyed about.
But
But
at least we know coffee or tea.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much. That got so annoying because it was every level after he was introduced. I kid you not.
It really was.
And he would repeat it more than one time in a level. Calm down. Calm down. But aside from those three main characters, you don't really need anything else aside from your own. Would you like to play this game as, say, Minkman from Ghostbusters?
Right.
Or if you want to play as maybe Batgirl or, Harry Potter.
And I
Finn.
shouldn't say it's not that you don't need other characters, but it's how much of this world do you want to explore. So,
Right.
Because it's not just the main characters, or the main story that you have. It's not just the level packs that you have. It's not just the story packs that you have. Every franchise has a hub world that you can go in, do quests for, rebuild, fly around and explore. You have races and other things to interact with. They're worlds unto themselves. So, again, you have just a crap ton to do. And it's how everyone has different requirements, some unique to that franchise. So the question is, how much are you wanting to explore?
That also goes in hands with how much you want to spend.
Exactly.
So, with that note, like I said before, me and him playing the main storyline, if you just want to play the main storyline, I don't feel like the other characters are necessary. Now, if you want to actually do more for the game and do other things with their own little kind of side stories, I have no problem with it. I would see, like, a few of these are actually worth playing. Like, the Doctor Who level held a very special place in my heart because it was just nostalgia all around.
Right.
And because of that, we actually unlocked something for the Doctor, which was dying and reincarnating as a different Doctor.
Which I thought I always did it to get to the first Doctor.
He did. And it's just a nice little Easter egg for me, a fan. So, I would say if you're just trying to beat the game, a lot of them are not necessary. Maybe Superman if you want to speedrun it. And that's only because he is a cheat character.
It's true.
Other than that, it all depends on, would you like to do the Beetlejuice world, or if you want to do the Ghostbusters world from the first movies versus the second movies. If you want to do Harry Potter, Simpsons, so on and so forth, you get the idea. It's more along the lines, do you want to explore a specific world?
Pretty much.
So with that, I'd like to hear everyone's comments below. Do you think pay to play, build a life are worth it, not worth it? Do you feel that certain level packs are necessary for enhanced enjoyment, or just playing the main game is enough?
I don't know about you guys, but even if you don't play it, Lego TARDIS is worth having.
It is. It's pretty fantastic. I might steal it by the end of this video.
And he's the hero. Go figure.
Yes, I am. But anyway, I'm Ash.
I'm Card Dreamer.
And this was our review/discussion on LEGO Dimensions. Please like, subscribe, comment below, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.